previous speakers covered all the aspects that I didn't want to talk about. So I shall get straight to my interest, which is Sanskrit and the Vedic tradition. There is a lot to say, but naturally we have to be brief, and I shall be brief. There's only 3 points I want to make. The Vedic tradition is very, very old, much older than people think, even Indians. Although this is changing in India, thanks mainly, or to a large extent, to my work and the work of 2 or 3 other scholars. It comes to the fore around about 4000 BCE, before Christ, and continues to this day. Mainstreamers don't agree with that. They want to have it beginning around about 1700 to 2000 BCE, but that is not really acceptable to me and a few others. There are several aspects to the Indian tradition. One of them is the philosophy aspect, or mythology, or religion. But it has the unique aspect of having monotheism, henotheism, and polytheism at the same time. You find that nowhere else. We in the West, Christians, Muslims, and the Judaic tradition, they want monotheism. The Vedic tradition had monotheism, had the Brahman, which was the very first principle of creation, the first substance from which creation arose, several agents that made the creation of the universe possible. This is the philosophical aspect. And people could worship any god they wanted. There was no problem, and there's still no problem in India. The next aspect is really the poetry. There is no element of good poetry that is not present in the very ancient document known as the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is probably the oldest document in the Indo-European tradition. Indo-European means Indian and all other European languages like Greek, Latin, Germanic, Slavic, and so on. The Germanic language was alliterative, the poetry of it. And that is to say, it had 3 or 4 words that began with the same consonant. You'll find that in the Rig Veda. Greek poetry, which is probably among the finest in the world, had strict meter. You'll find that in the Rig Veda. Other traditions had the riddle. You'll find that in the Rig Veda. There is really nothing at all of value in poetry that is not in the Rig Veda. It does contain a lot of repetitive material, but it does contain also the finest elements of poetry. I mean, I would like very much to give you some examples, but from what I see, there are lots of people and from different countries as well. So I don't know how many of you have even heard of Sanskrit. So I will not burden you with that. But there is one aspect that may be of interest to you, and may even amuse you. The poetry in Sanskrit is in different meters, just as everywhere in the world. Iambic, trochaic, dactylic, and so on. But according to the meter, you could also sing it. The accent in the ancient Vedic texts was a musical accent, just as it was in Greece in the ancient times. It was not an accent, ta-tam, 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 and so on. It was a musical. For instance, Kalidasa, the great Indian poet and dramatist, he wrote the beautiful play called Shakuntala, and the dialogue is interspersed with different verses. And in one verse is described the beauty of Shakuntala, who is a very young lady, teenager, and he talks about her beautiful lips, her beautiful face, her beautiful body, and her arms that are like creepers, and so on. And it goes like this. Adhara kisalaya raga komala vittam panparinau kusumamivaro bhaniyam yavanamangeshu sannatam. Suddenly, the dialogue bursts out this blossom of musical poetry. The Bhagavad Gita, this jewel of philosophy, religion, psychology, and what else, of the Indian tradition, is not called Gita for nothing. Gita means song. So it's the song of the Bhagavan, of the great God Krishna. Most of it is written in Anushtup, which is a specific meter, the most common meter used in poetry in India, in the epics, in the sutras, and so on. In the 15th chapter, you have the Anushtup. Urdhvamuladhashakam ashvatam prakuravyayam chandansi yasya varnani yastam veda savedavit. It talks about the Ashwatha tree, the world tree, the creation tree. But it says it's upside down. Its roots are in heaven, and its leaves and boughs are down to earth. Which is true, because everything begins in heaven, not the other way around, if you adopt that philosophical outlook. But then it changes. It becomes a different meter, the Bhajati, and it goes like this. Adhashchodvam prasrtastasya shakha guna pravrittha vishaya pravada adhascha mulani anusantatani karmani bandhini manushya-loke, and so on. So as you can see, there's great wisdom and great beauty at the same time in the Vedic tradition. So Yes, I am very happy to have spent many, many years studying this tradition and now trying to give as much as possible of it in Greek. I am translating the Upanishads and I hope to finish this year. I've already published one volume, another one is getting ready now. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.